So imagine a fire alarm is just blaring in a crowded airport,
Right.
but literally nobody moves because, a smooth jazz playlist is just completely overpowering the evacuation orders.
Which is an absolute nightmare scenario.
Exactly. And today, we're doing a deep dive into the $3,440 piece of hardware designed to make sure that never happens. We've got our hands on the spec sheet for the QSC MP-A80V multi-channel amplifier. So, okay, let's unpack this. Why are we looking at a commercial amp instead of like a flashy home theater setup?
Well, mostly because this is the invisible muscle behind the spaces you move through every single day. I mean, you aren't putting an 8-channel, 12.8-pound box like this in your living room.
No, probably not.
Right. This is built specifically for shopping malls, restaurants, and airports. Places where background music and paging systems just have to be incredibly reliable and, adhere to strict safety tenets.
But over $3,000 for a background music amp. I mean, when I was looking through the specs, I kept trying to figure out where that money actually goes.
Yeah, makes sense.
And it seems to come down to what they call their flex amp technology.
Yes, that is the core innovation here. So in a traditional amplifier, power is completely rigid. If you have a 200-watt channel, it just gives 200 watts, period.
Right.
But FlexAmp takes a pair of channels and basically gives them a pool of 400 watts to share in literally any ratio. Plus, it can drive a standard 4 or 8 ohm speaker
Or those massive 70 or 100-volt commercial lines.
Exactly.
It honestly reminds me of, like, a smart commercial plumbing system.
Oh, how so?
Well, instead of forcing equal water pressure to every single faucet in a building, it can instantly divert a massive rush of water to a fire hose while just keeping a gentle trickle for a drinking fountain.
That is a great analogy. And what's fascinating here is that this flexibility is why the device only takes up one rack unit of space.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, you just don't need to install a massive heat-generating stack of separate amplifiers for heavy and light loads anymore. It replaces all of that.
But hang on, if you're routing that much unpredictable power in a box that weighs, less than a bowling ball, heat has to be a huge issue.
Oh, absolutely.
The spec sheet mentions Class D output circuitry.
Yeah.
I know that's standard for running cool, but why does it actually stay colder than older amps?
It comes down to how it handles the electrical signal. See, older amps act like a continuous valve. They constantly restrict flow, which generates a ton of heat in that electrical resistance.
Okay, that makes sense.
But Class D acts like a high-speed switch. It is either fully on or fully off thousands of times a second. So because it spends almost no time in that high-resistance middle state...
There's basically no wasted energy turning into heat.
Exactly.
So what does this all mean for the business actually installing it? Obviously, they save on server room cooling, but I noticed there are some really heavy-duty physical protections built in too, like DC fault protection.
Yeah, a DC fault is a huge deal in commercial audio. If an internal component fails and sends direct current, which is just raw, unfluctuating power out to a speaker, it will literally melt the speaker's voice coil.
Wow, just completely fry it.
Yep. So that internal protection alone saves a business thousands of dollars in blown ceiling speakers. Plus, it has this auto standby mode after 28 minutes of silence.
Oh, right, with the seamless ramp up when the signal comes back, so you don't get those jarring pops when the music starts.
Exactly.
And that actually circles back to our airport fire alarm scenario. There is a dedicated 5-pin input on the back, a Euroblock connector whose sole purpose in life is just to listen to the building's fire safety system.
Right, the life safety integration.
Yeah, if the alarm trips, it forces the amp into standby, killing the background music instantly so the evacuation orders can actually be heard.
Because a business isn't just buying an amplifier, they're buying compliance and certainty. High thermal efficiency, bulletproof fire code integration, and adaptability, it all creates a massive reduction in the long-term cost of ownership.
It really is this balancing act of raw, flexible power and strict safety standards.
It's the unsung hero of commercial architecture. You never see it, but you experience its work every single day.
Totally. Well, before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final curious detail from the spec sheet to ponder.
Oh, what's that?
Every single one of those 8 channels features a selectable 80 Hz high-pass filter.
Interesting.
Meaning you can flip a switch and intentionally strip away all the deep rumbling bass from this extremely expensive audio system.
Right.
Why would a business pay over $3,000 for premium sound, only to deliberately cut out the low end? Next time you hear a voice echoing through a cavernous train station, think about what frequencies you aren't hearing, and why that might just be by design.